coloring, we are coloring in Fragile World. We are using this axolotl page right here, and as you can see, I've already planned out most of the page. It is a double page spread, so it's going to take a few parts, but I'm very excited to do this, and we are going to get started. So I'm going to grab out some of my Inktense pens. So we are going to start off with the log, and first we are going to use German Inktense Oak 1730, and this is going to be my lightest color. So I'm not going to press too hard. I'm just going to do a light layer. You'll find with Inktense you don't actually need a very heavy bit, and if you do need more, we can always touch up as we go. Here in the shadows we can add a bit more. Where you know it's going to be quite deep and dark, you can press a bit harder to lay down more pigments. In your lighter areas, you want to have a lighter pressure. Remember, we are going to go over this with pencil and deepen it, so we really don't need to worry too much about perfect shading. We just want our light areas light and our dark areas dark. Now we want our axolotls to be the main focus of our page, so we don't need to define every element of this picture as well as what we would do with our axolotls. Otherwise we risk everything else taking the attention away from the axolotls, and just it's not helpful. We want to always be thinking, what is the main focus of the picture, or what do you want to be the main focus of your picture? And then that is going to get most of your attention. The areas that aren't as important, you won't use as much attention to the details. So for instance, objects that are far off in the distance, don't really need to define them much. I'm going to make some of these smaller fishes into silhouettes, so I won't need to give 5 layers on that, just 1 or 2. So let's come down here and carry on laying a base layer. So I'm going to speed up the video now and lay a base layer on all the logs in this picture, and when I come back we will go with the next color and just deepen some of the shadowed areas. So I will see you in a bit. section of this log, and we're going to do the same and go throughout the entire log and block out some of these deeper shadows. And we might go in with a deeper color on some of the other bits, but I will talk about that when I come back. I'm going to speed up the camera and I will be with you when I'm finished darkening up all this log. So see you in a bit. Okay, now I'm going to take some water brush to this page and we're going to just wet this up and see how it works. So when you're doing Inktense pencils, you can vary your pressure to create a deeper color contrast between your lights and your darks. You can also layer up different layers, and I think at the most I use about 3 colors. So I've just got a parental water brush and I'm going to just activate this with water. You don't have to use a lot of water for this, and you just push the deeper color to the edge, and that's how you can create. So light color in and out in circular motions, then you can bring the dark color in and out like that, and it will create a blend. And then if you've got too much of one color, just dab it off in your paper towel, or if you've got a cloth you want to dedicate to your art, then you can use that as well. If it's too much water on the page, you can just dab it with your cloth and that will work as well. And if you don't want to get any ink out of the lines, just take your time with it. Don't worry about going fast, just take your time. So light first, circular motion into dark, light first, circular motion into the darker areas. And as long as you've got water and you're moving the ink while it's wet, it won't create any lines. If you stop and let it dry, then it will dry the way you leave it. So what I like to do is just color in a section at a time, and once I'm happy with the blend, I just move to a different color, and I always start with my lightest color and I work my way to my darks. Now as you can see, this is quite light. I haven't used a lot of pigments, and that's because I'm going to go over it with pencils. And this is just my base layers. And if you're not happy with the color, you can always pick up some more pigment and add to it. I would use this technique if I was coloring this page only with Inktense, as well as layering a base color. It's just my method. I learned from Peter Hewitt, and I like her technique, and I've just found it a very easy technique to work with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to activate all of the wooded areas that we've put down our Inktense pencils with, and I will get back to you when we do the next step. Brown in the tank, because if you look at the picture, we're not seeing the bottom of the rocks or the trunk on the logs. What we are seeing is everything above. So I'm going to stick with blues and greeny blues, and we will figure it out from there. So the colors I'm using are Deep Indigo 1100, Mallard Green 1230, and Turquoise 1215. So I'm going to use Mallard Green. Now I don't have to color very precise. At the moment I'm just wanting to lay down color. And I'm going to leave color over all these bubbles, and at the end, once the page is completed, I will decide how I'm going to handle the bubbles. So for now, they're gonna get colored over, and that is that. The lighter the pressure you put, the paler the color will be. Okay, I'm going to bring in some turquoise. some more mallard green. And then at the base here of the rocks, I'm just going to put in some deep indigo. Okay, so you've got your rock coming here. We'll make this some water by using the deep indigo and the mallard green. So I'm going to use turquoise. Now, with the Inktense, you may get some of the pencil, or when you doing this part of the coloring, or when you're activating it with water, and it may spill out onto different parts of your picture. Now, if the blue Inktense goes onto your leaves or onto your fish, don't worry, because you can always use colors that can cover over the Inktense, or colors that complement. So for instance, I've got a bit risking here, but I'm planning on making this a black axolotl, so the black will cover it. And if I use reds and pinks, the blue will just deepen it a little bit as a shadow, or I can use a white gel pen to go over it. And the same with the browns. Like, I don't know how to teach you how to not get any Inktense on any other part of the page, because it does happen, and I think that that should be okay, because you know, it's not about perfection, it's about adjusting what we have, and with practice we get better. So you will get better at this as well. I don't do loads of work with Inktense, but you know, if you don't want it, you're going to have to go really slow, really sharp point into the crevices, and that would also work for you. Okay, so here I'm going to make this quite light in the center here, and I'll go lightish up. So I want dark at the bottom here, and then kind of brightening out. So if I use the mallard green, just move this tag. Then I take my turquoise Okay, at the bottom here I want some of that deep indigo. Mallard green. Turquoise. Deep indigo. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other page, and I'm just going to use the same colors, and then we will activate this. But first what I'm going to do is just activate this side of the page, and then I will do this side off camera. Under here we're going to focus mainly on our deep indigo. So just so you can see, I'm going to do this side the same on this side, but underneath here you want to use your turquoise. Deep indigo. Turquoise. Okay, so that's how we'll do that one. I'm going to activate this so that we can see how it looks. So starting with my lightest color. So I'm going to do the other page, and I will be back with you when I am finished the background on the other page. It's pretty much the same process, and just work with it, tweak it. If you need more pigment, just pick it up off your pencil and add some more. I'm not too worried about it looking splotchy because it is water, and I think water does move, so it's got a bit of texture over here. Okay, I will see you. Okay, so now we're going to put a very light base layer on our black axolotls, and I'm going to do these two black. So I'm just going to use neutral gray 2120, and I'm just going to very lightly place down a base layer. I can go slightly heavier here at the bottom, but coming up very light to the top. And I'm holding my pencil quite far back so that I can make sure that I am putting down a light layer. And then I'm going to take my water brush and I'm just going to activate this. Okay, and now I'm going to do my other axolotl up here, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm using PC 1067 and I'm silhouetting out these fish. Alright, I'm going to activate this last rock. Alright, there we go. That is the Inktense done for most of the page. I will possibly Inktense the leaves at a later stage, but I think for now I'm going to work on the axolotls and the rock and the logs. Or I might change my mind completely. We'll see what my mood is. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to use Inktense as a base layer. The same principles I have used here you can use to create a full-on page without even touching any more pencils. You would just build up your layers or put down the pigment a bit thicker or vary it depending on the effect that you are looking for. So once again, thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.